was good. We've had 2 days of really good, spirited, positive. I think our guys are in a good frame of mind. Do we like that we're 0-2? Nope. But at the same time, they understand, one, that it's a long season. There's a lot more opportunities out there for us. And we give credit to, we play two of the more elite teams in the country. I think both of those teams will be in the top 10 to 20 for the rest of the season.
And you talked about setting your non-conference schedule up the way you did, and then the conference schedule was, these two big juggernauts. How is that going to help you guys in the long run, just to rip the Band-Aid off the Big 12 conference?
Yeah. I mean, I think the only difference is it seems like the games mean more because in some way they count more because you are playing for a championship. Right? There's a championship at the end of the still. Somebody will win it. But in terms of what we did to prepare ourselves, I think I'll always try to schedule pretty aggressively. I think right now, look, this morning, our schedule is like 22nd in the country. And it's not going lower because we're not playing worse teams moving forward. So I think that'll help us as we get more comfortable with the teams that we're playing now who will all play twice.
Chris Thomas was participating in practice. Is he back to 100% now, do you think?
I don't know if it was 100%, but he's obviously able to practice. And if he all goes well, we'll practice tomorrow and he'll be available on Saturday.
I know you talked about before when Ice was out how you didn't want one guy to be able to affect it so much if he was out
Sure.
of the lineup. How do you think, if that ever happens, how do you think the team can get to where they can really make up for that, whether it's Ice or Thomas or anyone out of the lineup?
Well, the thing that stands out about Thomas being out the other day is you go 1 for 20 from 3.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know if he makes more, but I think if he gets 5 or 6, maybe he makes 2, and maybe we shoot 3 for 23. But it all accentuates each other. I think we've got good depth. I think we have good quality. It's just the timing of the things that have happened haven't been ideal. We played Wichita State, who really pressures Georgetown, who can offset your without ice, and now a team who forces you to play from three-point range because they put those two mammoth guys in the paint and dare you to try to shoot layups, and then we don't shoot well from 3. So perfect storm in that way, but something we can learn from.
Caleb talked about facing off against these big guys and having to get used to that. Where do you see him able to be when he does, like he talked about his weight goals, when he does make weight and really get used to facing those guys?
It's multiple parts. Physically, I don't know if he'll ever become build out like those guys are built. So right now he's got to understand, use his quickness, maybe move around those guys. But he's got pretty good offensive instinct still. He's a pretty good finisher around the basket. But there's no doubt he's got to get stronger. He's got to put more weight on. We need to get him up in the 225, 230 range sometime in the next year or so, and that'll give him more opportunities to play consistently through the physicality of the game.
And you talked about it a little bit after the West Virginia game. Going back and watching the tape, I mean, the defensive foundation was there for you guys against West Virginia. So what do you tell them knowing that was solid and they just didn't get shots?
I told them exactly what I thought. We held West Virginia to their second lowest point total of the season. We forced them into 20 turnovers. And we also did a pretty good job rebounding. They only had 10 offensive rebounds. Well, just 2 of those guys usually combine for 10 offensive rebounds. We had 10 ourselves, so we did a pretty good job competing in the glass. But you can't go 1 for 20 from 3. If we shoot 5 for 20, we still have shot pretty poorly. But it's a different ballgame. So it's just a night where the ball didn't go in the basket, and it's hard to overcome that poor shooting, even when you do defend at high level. So we got to find a way to continue to have the competitive stamina to defend at that level throughout a 40-minute game against a really good team. But find a way to get better, consistent shots for the right guys.
You mentioned Thomas earlier. His critics will point to his defensive abilities, but do you think a game like that West Virginia game kind of just proves how valuable to this team he is?
Yeah, I mean, everybody's value is different.
Yeah.
Yours value is first and foremost as a defensive player. He needs to develop his other skills, but that's what we need his presence is for. Well, I don't need Dizzy trying to block shots. He's not athletic, he's not long, he doesn't move great, but when he's open, over his career, he's shown him he's a pretty deadly three-point shooter. And you have to have different parts, and they all have to complement each other. Ice and Avery, although different, complement each other. Lindy and Thomas, although they bring some of the same skills, complement each other well. And that's part of building the team. And so, yeah, Thomas's value to our team is unquestioned in my mind.
Isaac mentioned that Avery has just a lot more potential just practicing with him. How have you seen him improve just in his first few games here?
Just changing his mindset. In high school, he was a 25-plus point a game guy because he was clearly the best and most efficient option his team had. And that's where most high school kids are when they have his talent. Here, that's not what we need from him, although he's capable of it. He doesn't know how to do it efficiently yet. But early on, he still thought that that was the way to create value for our team. And the truth is we need him to be valuable as an on-ball defender, a guy who can create offense for other guys first and then score as a secondary option, and just play with a great competitive spirit like he always does.
You're obviously going to DFW this weekend. How valuable is that for you guys, that area? I mean, you've got a bunch of players, obviously, but I mean, how valuable is that area?
It's huge. I mean, obviously, I think you're referring to recruiting.
Yeah.
The state of Oklahoma, year in and year out, doesn't produce an overwhelming amount of talent. We have really good players in the state, but there's some years where there may be just two guys good enough to help you win in the Big 12. Well, if we got 4 scholarships, we got to go somewhere. And over the course of our history, that's been a really, really important area for our program. We've had a lot of success with guys from that area, and we hope to continue to do that. So it's good that we can go down there and play, have these kids play in front of their family members. Most of them, their families drive up here several times a year. So for them to be able to just drive over after work or whatever they're doing on a Saturday morning and then be able to go back home, it's pretty neat.
What's the camaraderie like with those guys? They got baggage claim guys. They've got headband groups. They got all this stuff. Is the camaraderie a little different there?
I don't know. I can't tell. I mean, I feel like in general, it seems like people are more connected just because social media has created that. But I don't know how well these guys really know each other. I mean, like really know each other? I don't know. But they see each other around a lot. They see what each other posts and what they're doing. Everybody's recruitment is an open book, right? Everybody's transfer story is an open book. And so, again, they feel more connected to each other than maybe what I did, I don't even want to count the years ago. Knew guys who I grew up with, but I didn't know the guys at Mississippi State. I only saw them if I went to media day or at the conference tournament or when we played them. So it's changed in the last 20 years because social media has kind of created a smaller world in a lot of ways.
Has the AAU circuit also fed into that? You know, players playing on each other's AAU team?
Yeah. That's certainly had an impact. The growth of summer basketball and the exposure that these kids get and knowing each other from the time, again, a couple of these guys, I mean, I've known Chris Harris since he was a freshman in high school. You know, I mean, I wasn't even recruiting him then. I just knew about him because I follow recruiting. And so, yeah, I think the earlier exposure has helped kind of facilitate some more awareness of people around the country in different parts.
Speaking of recruiting, what are the difficulties of recruiting now that Big 12 play started and you're fully in season now?
There's no such thing as difficulties of recruiting. It's the most important thing you do. Something else might be harder to do this time of year. Recruiting is not that thing. I don't eat as much. I may not sleep as much. But recruiting is a high priority for us.
Speaking of eating, is the new box, was that all Jenny's idea? Is that you?
That was all Jenny's idea. You know, I tell everybody in our program, and as it relates to our program, you know, she's a lot of things, but she is the dietitian, and so her job is to make sure that our guys are fed well and are eating the right things. And so she has responsibilities to think of what things we could be doing better. And she came and said, hey, I think during practice it may be helpful to be able to give the guys a little bit of a boost halfway through. And obviously I probably wasn't going to tell her no. That's probably her advantage. For being honest. So there we go. Got a bunch of fruit snacks and oranges over there, and I may grab one on the way out.
Who were disappointed in the lack of Rice Krispie treats?
Is that right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's important, what's popular. I obviously don't eat during practice, but it may be something I try for myself every now and then.
What have you thought of TCU?
Really good. Obviously playing with a lot of confidence. Went on the road, won in a tough place to play in Manhattan a couple days ago, and obviously it starts with Desmond Bain, who's one of the elite players in our conference, and they got an inside presence in Samuel, who is shooting 70%, which means he's shooting a lot of dunks. But they're the best three-point shooting team in the conference right now, and you know, that's a big challenge for us.
with the Big 12 as a whole, your weekend now, there's 4 teams that still haven't won a game. I know you're just concentrated on you, but is that kind of nice to know that you're not, you weren't going to be out of it after 2 games, but according to Twitter, the sky's falling. I don't know.
Isn't this guy always falling on Twitter?
Just about.
It's either like everything's great or everything's horrible, and you just can't worry about it. Today we had to worry about coming in with great attitudes and having a good practice, and I think we got that done. And tomorrow we got to come and do the same thing. On Saturday we'll get up and play a tough team. We'll play as hard as we can, try to make as few mistakes as possible, and at the end of the game we'll see where we are. After that one's over, we'll think about how we did, and we'll get ready for the next one. That's the only way to approach this thing. I respect the people on social media because I'm not going to say they're not real people. They are. But they're not vested in this every day, all right? And they react emotionally, and I get it. Fans are really, really important to what we do. But if we get totally focused on what the opinions are outside, then we're not really doing our jobs.
You talked in the past about how much college basketball you consume. Has anything about the conference surprised you yet? Is there anything about one team that you didn't know before conference play started?
No, I mean, you kind of watch the scores a little bit in the non-conference because in a lot of ways, you cheer for the teams in your conference to do well because that helps in postseason. But once conference play starts, man, it's hard to get past the guys you're getting ready for. Because if you do, you're going to lose. I mean, it's really that simple. And if you don't, there's still a good chance. I mean, this is the one league that I've been a part of that I really believe you can play well and still lose. I think a lot of conferences, at least the ones that I've been a part of, if you play well, for the most part, you're going to win. You can't play poorly and win, but you can't do that anywhere. But you can play really well in this league and still lose. We've been there. I don't think we played particularly well, but I thought we defended at a high level. You can't shoot the ball poorly and win, but you can shoot the ball well, you can defend well, and the other team's really, really good, and they can beat you. So just focus on today. Just focus on today.
You kind of mentioned just last week, like hanging your hat on defense and making that your priority, I guess, in a way. But
Sure.
what did you think about the West Virginia game?
I thought we did good. Again, they come in playing really well. They got 2 guys who combined for 29 rebounds 2 days prior to that, and we held our own on the glass with them. With basically, our 5 men are 1 sophomore and 2 freshmen. Hitty, Caleb, and Yor. And they didn't back down. Now they're freshmen and sophomores too, but they're different. They're built different. And so it's a great learning experience for us, and an opportunity when we see them again to try to make the adjustments. But defense has to be our staple until we can get a little bit more flow offensively.